Have you surrendered to the Lord? Fully surrendered to the Lord. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 14 and 15 says, "For the love of Christ controls us, having concluded this, that one died for all, therefore all died. And he died for all, so that they who live might no longer live for themselves, but for him who died and rose again on their behalf." I'm willing to guess that most of us have heard or read this scripture, and we understand that God expects our 100% devotion. And so if we know that, and if we know that we are to live for Him and not for ourselves, then why is it so difficult to fully surrender to the Lord at times? Well, certainly there are many reasons that we struggle. May I offer two scriptures to encourage that growth. 1, perhaps it is our pride that is standing in our way. In our culture, many see surrender as weakness and being vulnerable. But guess what? That's exactly what we are. We are weak. We are vulnerable. No matter what we think of ourselves, without God, we are weak. Paul talks about this in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 9 and 10 when he says, "Most gladly, therefore, I will rather boast about my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may dwell in me. Therefore I am well content with weaknesses, with insults, with distresses, with persecutions, with difficulties for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong." Friends, until we have the same attitude of Paul, of understanding that where our strength comes from is not within ourselves but from God, we'll never fully surrender to God. A second reason that we find it difficult at times to fully surrender is the fear of the unknown. Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 1 says, "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen." How many times have we had opportunities in our life to make decisions that we knew would help us and perhaps our families to grow closer to God, but we did not make those decisions because we were afraid of the fear of the unknown? Perhaps it had to do with a job. Perhaps we were scared about money. We were scared that provisions wouldn't be there. And for whatever the reason, not understanding the outcome, we did not make the decision and we stayed our normal course. Friends, as followers of God, we are to walk by faith and not by sight. Sometimes we don't need to have all the answers. We don't need to understand how it's going to all fall out. We just need to put our faith in God. And if we put Him first, He will take care of us. Have you surrendered to the Lord? Fully surrendered. May the Lord continue to bless you as you seek His truths.